So you produced on Big Pun's debut album, Capital Punishment, for the song Boomerang, right? Can you tell us about meeting Big Pun and what that relationship was like?
Yeah, so Big Pun, uh, Joe, Joe asked us if we had some beats to play for one of his new artists. He had somebody he wanted to get signed. Um, so he comes into the studio with Pun. I mean, he came in with a few guys, right? So I didn't know who Pun was. Next thing you know, I'm playing the beats and I'm still looking around like, who's the MC? Who is the person that he wants his beats for? Then I hear, I see one of the guys speaking to him. I said, that cannot be the guy. He's kind of whispering to him, like, yeah, that's the one. And so Joe says, hey, can you play that one, that other one again? I play it again. And he looks at it. I said, wow, this is the guy that's going to rhyme. I was like, wow, I would have never thought, right? So when I heard
Was
him
he's
out,
like, what, 350 at the time?
yeah, he was huge, huge. I just didn't think that he just didn't look like the type. I don't know. I don't know what the type looks like, right? So, but in my mind, I'm picturing somebody different, right? And so I hear him rhyme in Miami, freestyle, and I'm like, holy snap, this guy's good, man. I was so impressed. I was like, wow, I can't wait to do this record. Um, so I mean, when he did that, he did a lot of punches. He did do a lot of punching in, but you could never tell. You could never tell. So,
Oh, so at that time he was already doing the punching in, but it wasn't after every line, was it?
no, it wasn't after every line yet.
Okay.
No, I don't believe so. I don't remember him punching in like every, but there was quite a few punch-ins where he's, rhyming the way he rhymed, and I was like, man, you gotta be, nice with the punch-ins because to catch it. But everything was tight. You couldn't tell at all. Um, so he did that song with, of course, with Armageddon. Um, only thing, it was weird. The only thing I regret from that is, I wish I would have spoke to him a little more about the song structure because being that it was a 6-bar loop, they were treating it like 8 and 16s, right? So it falls on the correct spot on the first, and then the second chorus, it comes in a little bit after what's supposed to be there. So, I never made the corrections. I left it the way it was. Surprisingly enough, I've read in some magazine, actually Loud produced a magazine. They had a magazine. And,
Right.
they published a magazine. I mean, I don't know how many volumes they had, but it was something that he said on, I don't know if it was MTV or it had something to do with MTV. I don't know if they had a publication at the time, but it was taken from an article, and he said that Boomerang was his favorite song, that it meant the most to him out of any record he's ever done. He says, yeah, it's not my single, but it is, my favorite because of what I'm talking about, and it means so much to me. So I was like, wow, to me that was impressive. So.
What was your initial reaction when he did rhyme? Because you were like confused that he was the rapper.
Um, what was my reaction? You said,
Yeah.
no, I was in awe, man. I really couldn't believe it. So now, obviously, when you doubt something, right? Sometimes you're like, oh shit, like now like for you to be totally impressed, man, that person has to really be good because you were just convinced that that wasn't the guy,
Right.
right? So when you heard him, you're like, oh wow, wait a minute, So man, to me, I think he's one of the best ever. One of the best ever. I mean, he was just taken away too early, but his career was cut short. His life was cut short, right? But to me, there's nobody like him, man. He had so much personality. Like it just in the songs themselves, he jumped out at you, and you almost felt like, hey, man, even I think if I would have never even met him and hear those songs, it's like, hey, man, I know this guy. It's like one of those personalities.
Right. He was very captivating.
Yes, no, he was. He
For
was.
that song though, do you remember if he wrote his lyrics really fast, or like how was the process, his creative process?
Man, I don't remember him writing in the studio. Uh, I just remember him. I just remember him in the booth and kind of knocking it out quickly. You know, um, him and Armageddon. So I think I took longer than them putting everything together because I had other sounds, and I thought it was so good that it's like, you know, uh, I remember even taking the beat a step further and like really dissecting every little sound and putting anything I could in there. Where even Maddie was like, "Oh my God, I never heard that part in the beat when you gave it to him. I didn't even know it has that." And in my mind, I was like, "Yeah, because I'm putting it in there now. That's why. That's why." Or or and in other pieces bringing it out. That's So he made me want to work harder. Um, on that song.
Right.
Like I was like, wow, he delivered. I need to deliver.